Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the P Podcast. It's your host, Patty P. How's everybody doing today? Now, before we get into the episode, I want to thank you all for tuning in. But today, we're going to be discussing U.S. prisons, various aspects of U.S. prisons, the role Shakespeare plays in U.S. prisons, aspects of U.S. prisons that should be changed, some of the issues within prison systems in the U.S., and many more things related to those topics. Now, we're going to kick off the show with some smooth jams, and then we're going to get right into the topic for today. Ladies and gentlemen, hold your hats. Let's take off. To start off the show, I want to discuss various issues within the United States prison system. Some of these issues include harsh sentencing policies, the need for rehabilitation programs, or at least a rehabilitation aspect of the prison system, and also the methods of consequence. I don't even want to get into the specifics, but one of the greater issues that I'm more so passionate about has to be some of the methods of consequence present in the United States prison system. Now, during this show, we're also going to be answering the question on whether prisons are obsolete. Obsolete, that's a funny word, isn't it? In further discussion for our first issue, we have harsh sentencing policies. Now, you ask, what are harsh sentencing policies? These are mandatory minimum sentences and three-strike laws that have led to long prison terms. Now, let me discuss this in context of all the things that I learned from this semester. We introduced to a great example of harsh sentencing policies in the Shakespeare Behind Bars documentary. The character Sammy, aka Tranquilo, who was facing life for murder and 2 counts of aggressive armed robbery, had made an attempt to go to his parole hearing with the belief that he had spent well over a decade and will hopefully be able to go home to his family. But unfortunately, he couldn't. I'm fully aware of all his charges, but a decade is also a very long time, especially for somebody who is participating in the Shakespeare Behind Bars program. I could tell that him playing the character of Tranquilo and being a part of the program have really transformed him as an individual. Matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that he isn't the same person 10 years later in comparison to who he was when he entered the prison.
I mean, in the documentary, he did say that he was only in that predicament because of his environment and the things that he was around. He referred to it as trouble that kept following him, trouble that kept finding him. That's something to do with his environment and what he grew up around and the influences that were around him. Now, let's think Shakespeare now, similar to Macbeth. Just like Sammy was constantly committing crimes, Macbeth's ambition drove him to commit heinous acts. His unchecked desire for power influenced the prophecies of the witches and Lady Macbeth's manipulation. This showcases unchecked ambition. Just like Sammy's ambitions and intentions were unchecked. And they essentially led to his downfall, just like Macbeth's unchecked ambition led to his moral downfall. I believe these two are similar because it mirrors how individuals' ambitions are often fueled by societal pressures or personal desires. I mean, Sammy had 2 counts of robbery. You understand what I'm saying? That's personal desires. His personal desires thus led to criminal behavior, driven by the pursuit of power or status. That's Macbeth as well. So those two are parallel in the sense because they both had their various motivations and desires when they were doing what they were doing. And I guarantee you, and I can, like I just said, their influence had 100% to do with it. Their environment had 100% to do with it.
Now, see, I'm just going to go ahead and give my opinion on this. I understand that sentencing is on a case-by-case basis, but there are a significant amount of sentences and scenarios that have had many exterior complications, and those complications may have not favored the inmate, resulting in them receiving extremely harsh sentences. This can also come in the form of the inmates being denied parole for crimes that they may or may not have committed years and years ago. I also believe, man, cases shouldn't be so black and white. I believe there should be a degree of empathy in the U.S. judicial system on the side of the prisoner. Now, see, there's many aspects and issues within the U.S. prison system that are extremely concerning to me. But why this in particular is very concerning to me is because there's a presence of complete and open stupidity. I mean, we have people that are serving life sentences for marijuana-related crimes, and marijuana is legalized. We have Me Too situations when women are falsely accusing males of rape, and they're doing 20 to 25 years for rape and sexual assault and things of that nature, just to get exonerated 20 to 25 years later. There's officers physically abusing prisoners and treating them like they're anything less than human by abusing their power. People literally killing each other in jail. To me, I believe that there should be a clear reevaluation on the sentencing of many individuals in prison currently. Because I feel like if they were to go back and do a rundown on these type of things, they will see some of the stuff that these people are in jail for, or some of the crimes that they may have committed. They're very minor crimes. And I can guarantee you that those same individuals are not the same individuals as when they came in to begin with. So it's like the prisoners were discussing in the Shakespeare documentary. Are they just not going to get another second chance for try to better themselves as individuals? Or I'm not just talking about them specifically. I'm talking about people in similar predicaments that are making and taking actions and participating in various programs to enable themselves become better human beings by cooperating with others to possibly achieve a goal or participating in a joint mission. I just feel like the prison system to some degree has an unfair and unforgiving nature to it. And I believe once you fall victim to the prison system, a lot of stuff is just bound to go wrong. From that point on, you may be dehumanized. From that point on, people are going to continue to judge you for the mistakes that you've made in the past. You know, this is a circumstance that's been going on with people in the prison system for years on years on. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen, these are conversations that need to be had. And I'm sorry for my tone of voice, but I'm the type of person that when I see or hear problems, I'm a vocalize them. At what point is a man forgiven, or at what point is a prisoner forgiven for a crime he had once committed? And see, I understand it goes by the whole rule of the judicial system and things like that, but I just don't believe that all these cases are so black and white. I believe there should be a degree of empathy when thinking about these situations. And I understand there are boards and there are people for these things, but there's people in very unfair situations that really need to be out of those situations because it can be detrimental to their well-being as well. I understand they're prisoners and they broke the law, but their well-being should still be considered to some degree as citizens of the United States. To sum up that point in all realisticness, or this is just my opinion, I believe there should be a reevaluation of some of the sentences for laws that are currently legal. I believe there should be a resentencing for individuals who hadn't broken those laws. But in pertaining to people in situations such as Sammy, I believe those individuals should be given a second chance at life. I mean, now I don't know his current events or his current state of living, but I believe at that time, 10 years is enough. That's just my opinion. Another one of the greater issues that I'm advocating for is the need for rehabilitation programs. Okay, so if the question was raised as to how the need for rehabilitation facilities correlates to Shakespeare in any way, shape, or form, let's go ahead and talk about Shakespeare's Macbeth. Let's talk about the character Macbeth. Macbeth undergoes a dramatic transformation from a respected general
So a ruthless, kind of like tyrant sort of individual. You understand what I'm saying? It's like at the beginning, he was like this guy that everybody loved and respected, and then he became such a heartless individual. This transformation illustrates the potential for changed individuals, even those who have committed serious offenses, to be able to either turn their lives for the good or the bad. I believe rehabilitation facilities give people the opportunity to be able to make that choice. Rehabilitation facilities aim to facilitate positive transformations by providing programs and support for inmates to address and overcome the factors that led to their criminal behavior. You understand what I'm saying? I think if Macbeth, so to say, had access to a rehabilitation facility, he would have, probably dealt with some of his problems in a way. But that's a story for another day.
Or even if they're not rehabilitation programs, an aspect of rehabilitation within the prisons to enable the prisoners be able to recuperate from whatever they have experienced in their past or what they're going through currently. People go crazy in jail. People lose their mind in jail. People go through mood swings in jail. People experience PTSD in jail. A lot of harmful, violent things are going on in jail. I mean, for crying out loud. These people need therapy. These people need to be able to express themselves. These people need things to help them be able to survive mentally in there. Not everybody has the same amount of mental toughness, because everybody grew up in a different environment. People had different interests and various things like that. So it's like we need to take these things into consideration. The U.S. prison system needs to take these things into consideration.
Another one of the things that I had an issue with were the methods of consequence within the U.S. prison system.
To dive deep and get even more specific in my problems with the method of consequence that the U.S. prison system currently has, I'm going to bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, solitary confinement. Solitary confinement is a dehumanizing circumstance that people in prison were put under because of the things that they've done in prison or the things that they've done outside of prison. And let me just say this, solitary confinement has to be the most unfair form of imprisonment that I've ever heard about in my life. I'm going to bring to you guys the story of Anthony Graves, a former prisoner in whom was later exonerated after serving an 18-year sentence in solitary confinement. He spoke on the psychological effects that solitary confinement had on his life. Solitary confinement makes our criminal justice system criminal, is a quote that he said. I couldn't agree more with this quote. This is a very significant situation whereby an innocent black man was forced to live under circumstances for a crime he did not commit. The mental fortitude that this man had to have must have came from the divine itself. My thing is, crime or not, no human should have to go through these types of circumstances. This is a component of the prison system that needs to be reevaluated and removed. Solitary confinement is a 6x9 cell with a toilet in it. I could never, ladies and gentlemen, I repeat, I could never live under those circumstances ever in my life. This reminds me a lot of Shakespeare's Merchant of Venus, when Antonio faces a literal form of imprisonment when he defaults on his loan from Shylock. The contract between Antonio and Shylock allows Shylock to claim a pound of Antonio's flesh if the loan is not repaid. When Antonio fails to repay, Shylock demands his due in court, metaphorically imprisoning Antonio by holding his life at stake. I believe this indirectly correlates to solitary, because of the similarity of forceful imprisonment. Just like solitary forcefully imprisons inmates and secludes them to a room and bathroom for their wrongdoings, like they did to Anthony, Antonio was also forcefully imprisoned for his so-called wrongdoings. Forcefully. Now, to answer the question on what role Shakespeare plays in the reforms that can be taking place within the U.S. prison system. Now, see, there are many ways that I could answer this question, but I'm just going to answer it like this. I believe Shakespeare should have true significance in areas of productivity, while also promoting teamwork and collaboration because it gives them something to do and promotes a degree of bonding. Come on here. People are winning. It's a win-win. The prisoners bond. They get to be a part of something. There isn't a problem with peace, conflict, of violence, and everybody's good. It should be a method to promote social ability and eliminate the preconceived notion that all people are prisoners are bad people. I mean, if you can't even bring yourself to participate in a Shakespeare play, you gotta be a bad person. Like, come on. These people are at least taking a first step in a direction of something positive by choosing to be a part of this program. I also believe that Shakespeare would also provide something positive for the inmates to look forward to. Although these people have broken laws in society, it does not mean they shouldn't be given a muse or something to cope with while doing their time or serving their sentences. I do truly believe that if the focus of these facilities or these prisons was set on bettering the people so that they don't come back in adverse to trying to torture these people, prison will be way more effective. Am I lying though? Nah, because am I lying though? Solitary confinement is torture.
And we're not just about to sit here and act like it's not.
People lose their mind. We saw it in the video. It is almost as if the United States is trying to create a traumatizing environment for people to go to when they break the law. That's contradicting the whole point of sending people to prison in the first place. Now. Do I understand that there are many people in whom have done some bad things, some heinous crimes, some revolting crimes? Yes, fully aware that decisions are made on a case-by-case basis, but we do have to think on how some of these so-called punishments can affect the prisoner, not only physically, but mentally as well. They're already going through so much, given the fact that they're taken away from their family, their freedom, and they're gonna be asked to eat, sleep, clean, and do everything on a scheduled period in time. I'm a firm believer that hurt people. And I believe that the U.S. prison system is hurting people. I believe the releasing of individuals that have been forced to live in an environment, a circumstance, will be more detrimental to society once they enter back finally. At that point, they aren't considered ex-cons anymore, or, prisoners anymore. They're just used to be prisoners with psychological issues coming from a facility that really should have put the focus on helping them become better and more productive individuals in society. I mean, come on. Shouldn't that be the main purpose of prison in the first place? I don't think prison is bad. I just believe that there are aspects about it that can be dehumanizing. Like, come on. You wake up, you go to sleep, you do that on repeat. Not only is that, you have to shower with a whole bunch of other people. It's just like, it's something about the routine it just gives me rat vibes. I don't understand. I do understand it's not meant to be a good thing, but there are aspects of it that I don't believe would help anybody become a better person anyways. And then comes the question on whether or not prison is obsolete. Now, see, when I think of obsolete, I think about something that is no longer effective, no longer competent, or useful in the current times we're in. I do think that there are some aspects of prison that are indeed obsolete. Solitary confinement. Is prison obsolete within itself? No, because there's still a need for consequence for breaking the law. Lord knows what the world would be like if there was no prison. So no, prison isn't obsolete. People in society can't just be out here going to therapy as a result for their bad decisions. So yes, we do need prison. Prison is 100% not obsolete. But things like solitary confinement, assault by police officers, things of these corrupt natures are truly ineffective. I stand by that. It's just like, what's the use of the criminal justice system being present if there's going to be a whole bunch of illegal stuff going on? But yeah, I'm glad that I was able to give you guys my outlook on my certain beliefs on certain topics. I do believe Shakespeare could be something very positive that can help not only prisoners, but people around the world, as it has already. And I do pray that it continues to help people going through these tough situations. And yeah. And last but not least, don't even get me started with the unfairness of the type of lifestyle that these prisoners have to live when they get out of jail. Not only do they have psychological issues that they dealt with from going through violence, being in solitary confinement, being on a scheduled routine,
coming into freedom now. Not only that, given the fact that they're ex-cons, there are many situations in which they can't find jobs. It's just like a system that's unforgiving towards those that make very significant mistakes. Now, do I understand it on the end of somebody that's committed something so horrid? No, but that's not always the case. Some people go through things and have been through things in their life and go through certain environments that cause them to do the things they do. But once they gain that sense of wisdom and understanding that that isn't the way, that isn't the right way, that isn't how you get what you want, I believe the general public and society as a whole should be forgiving towards that person. Everybody deserves a second chance. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hearing me out. This is the P Podcast, and I'm checking out. I'm the owner. Y'all boys know. I'm holla at y'all. Y'all be easy. Let's send it off.